I'm going to do a quick review here on the Garvin Wilderness Expedition roof rack. This is on a two-door JK, and this is the two-door version. Garvin makes two-door and four-door. They also make other racks. You can check out Garvin's website for that. This is going to be in particular on the Garvin Wilderness Expedition rack, which is the full-length roof rack. It's pretty cool. So let's jump in. I'll show you some of the things I like about it. Show you some of the ways it works, how you remove the top, that kind of thing, how it flips back, and let's get started. So I really wanted to do a review on this rack because I was not able to find any real information online or any really good reviews of this rack before I made the purchase. And I know it goes without saying, but it really comes down to two really high quality roof racks when you're given choices. I know there's a couple others now, Quadratech sells like a Congo rack, something like that. I don't really like the way that looks. It's got giant, I don't know, framing to it. It just doesn't look as elegant as the Garvin rack or the Gobi. I went with Garvin because it's a lot less money. In my case, it was like half the price of the Gobi rack, and it looked like it would be suiting my needs just fine. And I have had this rack on my Jeep for about 6 months now, and I love it. So since there wasn't too much information out there about it, I thought I'd throw a review up online so anybody else looking to make this purchase can do so with a little bit better education on the subject. So let's dive right in here. It's a two-door JK, and you can see it's a full-length roof rack. I am actually in the process of putting the windows and doors back on now, putting the top back up. So I figured this would be a great time to tell you a little bit about it. Kind of give you a walk around first. You can see it attaches to the windshield there. Then it comes back and it attaches actually behind the tail light assembly here. And you remove that tail light assembly, and there's reinforced steel that goes in as part of the install process. And then it bolts through the JK here. So you can see you do actually have to drill some holes into your Jeep. I was a little sketched out about that myself. You may be as well. So I actually had Garvin do this install. They're not too far from me, and I was able to have them do it. I just felt more comfortable having them do it than drilling holes in the Jeep myself. I went ahead and did this because honestly, if I wanted to remove the top up here, it's just replacing the bolts, no big problem. Back here there would be holes. However, there is a lot of different trail armor that you can get that would wrap around this corner and cover any holes. So I could patch up the holes, make it clean so it doesn't rust, and then put a cover on my corners here, and you wouldn't even know that I had holes there ever. So it didn't bother me too much. So kind of stepping back here, continuing the walk around. They do sell a ladder. You can put the ladder on either side, or ladders on both. I opted for just ladder on one side. It does not impede, of course, in any way the tailgate or the back window on either the soft top or hard top. You can put this on a soft top or hard top. In fact, we'll point something out real quick. On a hard top, this piece right here actually has a bumper, a little bump stop that goes up against the hard top and just kind of helps hold the rack from moving around too much. Going on around the other side, you can see it looks exactly the same as the driver's side. So you've got your attachment points here, full roof rack, and then it attaches up front. I did get the wind deflector. As with any full length roof rack, it is super loud. This is something you hear from everyone that has a full length roof rack. They're very, very loud. So I did go ahead and get the wind deflector, and I must say that was a lifesaver. It lowered the volume significantly. You may hear twinkle twinkle little star playing in the background because my little girl is taking a nap, and I've got the monitor here so I can keep an eye on her. So the wind deflector is great. The floor of this rack is made up of these steel tubes here. And if you can see, I know the lighting is really bad here, so I apologize. If you can see, there you go. It's attached by a bolt that goes through these cross members right here, and a washer holds these rails in place, the floor. So what that means is you could actually undo all those and move all of these floor rails into one. It could be just a few on one side, a few on the other, all in the middle. So there's a lot of functionality there. It's interchangeable. You can do kind of what you need with it, which is cool. You can get an idea of how the wind deflector attaches. In just a moment, we will cover how the rack flips back. See the side rails here attached? I think this is 4 inches in height. Give you an idea of how tall that is. And there's obviously a lot of attachment points on this thing. So let's go ahead and jump up the ladder here so you can see kind of the top view. This is what she looks like up top. All right. You can see I've got the front half of my Jeep top flipped back. Been driving around like that for about a week. I've got to take some people in the Jeep here this week, so I've got to put it all back together again. Kind of a bummer. You do have to flip the rack back to flip the top back, of course, or to take the top completely down. You just see how it kind of attaches. It's very stout, very strong material. Everything feels very sturdy. You can walk up here, although I wouldn't suggest it. Each one of these rails is not meant to support alone the weight of a human being. Garvin says that this rack will hold 300 pounds on the road and 500 pounds static. So if you're off-road, you could throw a tent up there and camp out up on this rack. Or you could, you know, do some kind of a flooring or something so that you could set up there and maybe watch fireworks, 4th of July, or just perch yourself up there to take photographs of landscape or wildlife. It's kind of a really versatile setup. You can get up there. It will obviously support 500 pounds. It's just going to be whether or not you throw a piece of plywood up there or some kind of flooring so that you can walk around safely. I've been up there several times the way it is. I just try to keep my weight across several of those floor pieces at once so that all my weight's not on one or two. All right, in just a second, we'll show you how this comes apart. All right, here we are at the back of the Jeep. There are 4 bolts that you have to undo in order to flip the top back. Here we are at the gas tank, and you can see there's a bolt that is through this bracket that's mounted to the Jeep, and it fits through the frame here and bolts on the inside here. And this is like just kind of a handle or something. It's also a great spot they built in so that they can mount the ladder. Garvin does make a bunch of different accessories. I might talk about that in just a little bit, or you can check it out on their website if I forget about it. But this bolt here is undone on this side, and then if you follow back up to the front, there's a bolt right here. This bolt is taken off. You repeat the process on the other side. That same bolt exists on the other side of the Jeep over there, and this bolt here also exists on the other side of the Jeep over there. So you take all 4 of those off. Then the rack is free to pivot right here, and it just flips back. You can support almost the entire weight of the rack just balanced. It's almost weightless once you lift it back to a certain point, and I'll show you what that looks like flipped back. Once you get it flipped back, there's a deal like this guy right here. Looks like so. It goes on right here, attaches here, and then the rack attaches to that back piece, and I'll show you that once I get it installed. And that holds the rack in place so that you're able to work on the top, take the top up and down, whatever you need to do. The rack's flip back out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all the bolts. I'm going to flip the rack back, and I will show you what that looks like flipped back. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, here it is with the rack flipped back. I timed it, took about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. I am alone. It is a lot easier if you have help, if you have somebody else to do this with you. You could probably cut that time in half, actually. It takes no time at all to pull the bolts out. The hardest part when you're by yourself is just lifting the rack back. It is very heavy. Once you get it back, you have to delicately balance it, like on your shoulder, while you install the brackets that hold it. So I would definitely suggest doing this with someone else. For your first time, you absolutely have to do this with someone else. Do not try to do this process by yourself the first time. It's going to be a little unwieldy. If you lose this rack, it could crash backwards. It could crash forwards. I'm not even sure what that would do if that thing fell from that height. It may even break the windshield. I'm not sure. It is fairly heavy. I wouldn't want to try it. So I would definitely have someone do this with you the first time you do this. After that, you know how the process works. You can probably tackle this alone. Like I said, I did, but it does take a little bit longer. So let's show you how that works. So once you unbolt this, this is what you're left with up front. The front bolt comes off, and this piece that attaches to the windshield is just here by itself. Same on both sides, you can see it there. Rack's pretty high up off the Jeep here. And then back here, this is what you install. So back here, like I showed you before, this is that L-shaped bracket, okay? There's a hole in the frame here for you to put a bolt through. And it's got a little wing nut on the other side, I'll show you. And then it just attaches to the bracket that comes out from the body of the Jeep with just a bolt and a washer there, a nut. Anyway, that just attaches it, holds it back in place there so you can work. It is exactly the same on the other side of the Jeep. Okay, L bracket attaches here, and then this guy attaches here, like so. Like so. That's it. Now the rack is up out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and flip the top forward, put the windows and all that back on, put the rack back down, and bolt it back in place. So again, this is the Garvin Wilderness Rack. Kind of gives you an idea of how it flips back and how it works. You can see Garvin written there in the rack. You can see kind of the spacing. Remember, again, you can actually move all of the floor to one side, doesn't matter. So it's adjustable to your payload, which is great. Only other things I would point out is that there are accessories to mount shovel and axes to this. There are accessories to mount your high lift jack to this. There's accessories to mount spare tires up there. It wouldn't fit my garage if I had a spare tire up there, although I do love the way it looks. But I'm going to use this rack more for camping and putting gear up there, so I don't want to take up any weight that I don't have to. My high lift jack will be mounted in the rear of my Jeep, and actually the shovel and the axe is going to be mounted on the hood later today. Maybe I'll do a review of that mount as well, because I wasn't able to find anything on YouTube on that either. So this is the Garvin Wilderness Expedition Rack. Only other thing I've really had to do myself at all on this is just touch up some areas where I've scratched the paint, and it will rust pretty quickly if you don't keep an eye on that. So that's it. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'll be happy to try to answer anything I can. Good luck, happy purchasing. Like I said, I've been very happy with mine, so I would definitely suggest Garvin. Their customer service has been excellent as well. This is a sturdy rack. They are out down in near San Diego in El Cajon, so if you're in the area, they were happy to have me over to the shop. It was great to go see the guys and actually meet them. It's family owned and operated business, so it's good to support local businesses here in the United States. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.